Hello everyone, welcome to the live stream. Today, I want to talk about acolytes and potentially deaconettes. That's right, women acolytes and possibly women deacons. Now, um, Rorate Chaley posted something how he predicted there would be women deacons, and this is on the heels of his source releasing information that Pope Francis's health was very poor. So he says that Pope Francis is going to move along very quickly to try to advance all of his agenda that he wanted to implement. And remember, there were two women deacon commissions that Pope Francis called together. He commissioned these commissions, I guess you could say that. And they came back, the results were more or less inconclusive. Um, because women deacons are not biblical, they're not Catholic, and I've said it many times. Anyone who says that there should be women deacons is a heretic. I believe Bishop McElroy is supportive of women deacons. I think there are some bishops in Germany that support them. I'm sure there's a lot that support them, but they'll say, "Well, we shouldn't dismiss the idea of women deacons," and they say, "Oh, we should have a more prominent place in the church for women." Well, what are they talking about? Women deacons, of course. They haven't publicly said it, and so I can't say they're on record as a heretic. But that's the way it's going, and if they believe that, then they are in heresy. It's just that we can't acknowledge it until they actually make a statement about it. So where was I going with this? Um, Women deacons. So we'll take a look. There is a third women deacons commission by Pope Francis because the first two didn't get the result he wanted, and we'll see what happens with this women deacon commission. Now they did have at least two married deacons on the commission. So I mean, married deacons is an innovation in the Second Vatican Council, and I do want to take you to. Let me see here. I do want to take you to this website I posted in the description. Let's see here. It's Tradition in Action, and it has to do with women acolytes. So remember Pope Francis. Remember Pope Francis changed canon law, I believe, to allow for women deacons. To allow for these instituted minor orders. Now, Paul VI abolished the minor orders, and so in the Novus Ordo, I don't know that minor orders really count for anything other than just like a glorified position. Some people say that but instituting women to these Novus Ordo minor orders, it's heresy, and I'm like, well, I don't know that it really means anything. What does it mean to you? It's a listening church. It's a synodal church. What does it mean to you? How do you feel about it? Let me plug this in real quick here. And so to me, it doesn't mean anything. So let me see if I can share my screen, because there is a photo that I would like to share. I don't know. I think this is it. Okay, so you can see here, and this is the Tradition in Action website. And on here you can see, here's the text here. A June 22nd, 2021 newsletter from the Pan-Amazonian Network REPAM, remember that from the Amazon Synod, informs the public that 5 Kichwas Indians, 2 women and 3 men, received the minor orders of lector and acolyte this month. Like I said, Novus Ordo minor orders. What does it really mean? I don't know. In his 1973 apostolic letter Ministeria Quaedam, Paul VI renamed these orders as ministries. So he renamed them But did they change? I think they did, with a new rite. It says the orders were conferred by Bishop Raphael Cobb of Payo in the Ecuadorian Amazonia. According to a new reform of these ministries made by Pope Francis in January 2021, a lector is not only allowed to read the text in the church, but also to preach from the pulpit. And an acolyte is not only an assistant to the priest at the Mass, but can also distribute Holy Eucharist. Okay, well, I mean, they already had Eucharistic ministers, and no one was installed for that. I mean, I think I was at some kind of Mass where they sort of kind of installed Eucharistic ministers, but it was kind of like whatever. Let's see. And this is what tradition and action says. It says, therefore, what this ceremony did was to sacramentally establish women preachers and women ministers of the Eucharist. I don't know. And I'm not sure. I'm not so sure about this lector. I'm not so sure about the women being allowed to preach from the pulpit. I don't know about that. So this, to me, it's questionable. That part is questionable, but the fact is that there are ministries. Now, this bishop, Rafael Cobb Garcia of Payo, Ecuador, I found an article in 2019. He's quoted as saying, "It's not the same to evangelize in the city as in the Amazon. The needs are different." And this was, talking about a lack of vocations from the Amazon Synod. And the article says some bishops have pointed to the church's mandatory celibacy requirement as an obstacle to indigenous vocations. In many indigenous cultures, a young man is not considered an adult and a full member of the community until he has a family. And to me, I have to say to that, well, maybe catechesis would be a good idea. Because, look, the Catholic faith supersedes culture. Like, seriously. Are you going to adapt the Catholic faith to the whims of the local culture? I mean, this is just ridiculous. This has been going on for years and years, this nonsense. And it needs to stop. I mean, when are people going to realize, when are these bishops going to realize that adapting the Catholic faith to the culture is just going to destroy the Catholic faith in the region? I mean, it's so obvious, isn't it? And now, on Sunday, the Vatican announced that, or not on Sunday, but coming up on Sunday, the Vatican has announced that Pope Francis will confer the ministries of catechist, lector, and acolyte upon lay men and women for the first time in St. Peter's Basilica this Sunday. 2 people from the Amazonian region in Peru will formally be made catechists by the Pope, along with other candidates from Brazil, Ghana, Poland, and Spain. Each of these ministries will be conferred through a rite prepared by the Congregation for Divine Worship, and the discipline of sacraments will be presented for the first time, according to a Vatican communication issued on January 18th. So they invented the ministry of catechist, and this new rite is going to be presented for the first time. So what is that? New theology? New doctrines? I don't know. But it is the Novus Ordo Church, and for me, it's irrelevant because these things. I don't. Now, and some people are going to, disagree. They're going to say, "Oh, this is heresy." And I'm like, if it's like, I don't know. What if I wave my hands, wave my magic wand, and say, "Hey, you're a minister of YouTube"? What does that mean? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. So I don't know. I think to me it's pretty meaningless, and having these random ministries being instituted. I mean, what about the ministry of this altar server? Are they gonna institute people to the ministry of altar server? I mean, are they gonna institute people to the ministry of taking the offertory up? Because in the Latin Mass they don't have anyone take up the gifts. It's an innovation of Vatican II. Lots of innovations. Let's see what we want to go to next year. the Synod on Synodality website. Let me show you this. See if you can see this here. Okay. Oh, and okay. Let me continue here with this this installation ceremony. This ceremony where these minor orders will be instituted. It says before the homily, the candidates will be summoned, called by name, and presented to the church. Those called to the ministry of lector will be presented with the Bible, while catechists will be entrusted with a cross. In this case, it will be a copy of the pastoral cross used by Popes Paul VI and John Paul II. Obviously, very Vatican II. The ministry of lector will be presented with the Bible. You know, that would be nice to have a free Bible, a free Dewey Reeves Bible. But anyway, this is the Synod's website, synodresources.com, I believe. Let me see what it says here. Yeah, synodresources.org. There's a women's ordination advertisement on the Synod's website, so that kind of shows where we're going and what this is headed towards. And nothing Catholic, and this is completely heretical. So whoever, like I said, whoever supports women's ordination is a heretic, and we must treat it that way. Let her voice carry. Remember also Catholic News Agency. Was it no, it was the National Catholic Register. They posted an article that said there were links to women's ordination and plenty of LMNOP resources. And remember New Way's ministry, heretical anti-Catholic. They were advertised on the Synod's website, and it was removed. And there was outrage because it was on there, and then there was outrage because of it. So they re-added it to the website, and so now it's still there, the New Ways Ministry link. And so, you know, the Synod's about listening to those who are not Catholic. That's what it's about. And I'm actually going to go on about the Synod for a little bit, so bear with me. And thanks for tuning in, everyone, to the live stream. If you have any comments, leave me a comment. See what you think. I found. Did I remove this? No. Okay. So I found some Synod resources. So hopefully you'll like this. All right. So what do you think? I'm gonna scroll through this. This is really great, and you've probably seen this. For a synodal church, communion, participation, mission. What do they mean when they're saying communion? All right, here's some buzzwords. Listening, discernment, journey, mission, future, sharing, creativity, communion, authenticity. Authenticity is a good word. You can find that at the Latin Mass. You can't really find that at the Novus Ordo too much. And all these buzzwords are modern garbage, except maybe authenticity. Mission's good. Creativity's not. Communion, I don't think we mean the same thing whenever I refer to communion as these synodal creators. Now, what about salvation of souls? What about judgment? What about salvation? I don't see that anywhere, unfortunately. I think those would be very important. What about the Catholic faith? Now, how do I zoom in? Let's see. Let me just zoom in here so you can see how awesome this is. Ooh. Okay, I went to the next page. So this yellow thing, the listening church, and a bunch of different handwriting. It looks like fourth graders' handwriting. Probably better than mine, but I don't know. There's cursive. I don't think the schools teach cursive anymore. So that was interesting. Um, okay, and then here's a picture of Pope Francis. How inspiring is that? Not. Okay. I could have probably just zoomed in on this text. Oh well. Sorry, guys. And then you'll notice in the background, in the blue, right around here, I don't know if you can see my mouse. Connect, engage, inspire. It's written over inspire. Are you inspired by this? I really am. And then of course the buzzwords. All right, I can zoom out. Let's see. All right. Scroll down. Connect, engage, inspire. Like I said, nothing in salvation. Listening church. What about a Catholic church? It talks about the synod. How inspiring. I'm so inspired. Look at all these people wearing stuff on their faces. Oh, there's this one girl right here who's over it. She's outside, and no need to wear anything over your face. Absolutely. Okay. Why are we creating samples for you? We know how busy you are, and we want to help you. Oh boy. Then you can get a fourth grader and come up with some better art than this. You can get some volunteers, right? Use these hashtags, Synod and Listening Church. Are you on Twitter? Hopefully not. But if you are, you can use the hashtags, and they want to hear you. So post about how much you like the Latin Mass and how much you support a rigid church and a rigid doctrine, and how doctrine can't change. And those who believe that it can are outside the church. Oh, Pope Francis. It is precisely this path of synodality which God expects of the church of the third millennium. Wow. He's getting a message directly from God. Well, that's interesting because I believe that God expects a lot more of the church, and that's why He's instituting His judgment against us. And that's why you can see things in the world going very downhill because the church has lost its way, but the leaders of the church have lost its way. The church never loses its way because the church exists for us to find our way to heaven. God, or good practices to maximize these materials. Let's see if there's anything important here. Creativity of the gospel, not a defense of Catholicism. Wow, that sounds heretical. I think the gospel has one meaning. Like you read the book of John, the Gospel of John, chapter 6, and it talks about the Eucharist and the bread of life discourse. Jesus says, I am the bread of life. And how do we apply creativity to John chapter 6? What happens if we apply creativity to John chapter 6? Well, we could become Protestant, and that's heretical. Let's see. We all need to learn in this journey together. If you can, why don't you help us encourage real dialogue in your local communities through your platforms? You have a podcast, a YouTube channel. Yes. So I'm going to encourage real dialogue in my local community. So I encourage everyone to go to the synod, your local synod, write your bishop a letter if he's locking you out of your synod. Let your voice be heard. Tell them that you don't want to see doctrine change because that's heretical. Tell them how much you like the Latin Mass. Use your approach however you see fit, because if you have a heretical bishop, they don't care about your voice and they might not even let you speak. But if you have a bishop who you're not sure about, you can present the Latin Mass in a very positive way. Maybe not mention so much the heretical aspects of the synod and how you expect that Pope Francis is going to try to do something really ridiculous. Now, here's my thought, though. How long is Pope Francis going to live? I mean, with all these reports about his health, is it possible that he doesn't live for the next few months? Is he going to live until 2023? Or will another pope take over before 2023? Right now we have two popes. You know, So keep your audience in mind. All right, what is this? Quick tips for producing original content. All right. So, you think I'm following these? Keep your audience in mind. Who are they? What are their needs? Well, our spiritual needs are the Latin Mass and the traditional sacraments, traditional practice, and faith. Keep your message in mind. What do you want to say? Well, I want to say that the synod is garbage. Should you share the theme of this synod? What is the theme? Synod and synodality, and the synodality is an innovation of the Francis Church. Should you invite all people to participate in the synod? No. We should invite Catholics. Should you share the importance on why? Should you share the importance on why it is so important? I think that's a typo. Why it is so important to hear their voices as well. No, because it's not. We don't want to hear from the pagans and the heretics. We want to hear from the Catholics. Why do we need to listen to the pagans and the heretics? What do we benefit from listening to the pagans and the heretics if we're not attempting to convert them? Should you share what Pope Francis has said about the Synod? No. Tell your story. There's no better way to touch people's hearts than by sharing a true, honest, very humble story. You can see my series, My Journey Home to the Latin Mass. We share our stories, and let's see, we need to hear these stories in order to learn, to grow, to help one another, and to walk together in this mission of life. There we go. So it says it right here. My Journey Home to the Latin Mass. Check out the video series. Create a platform for your community if you don't already have one. This can be a place where they can feel safe. Oh my goodness. By sharing their thoughts, questions, or comments about the Synod. Remember, we are here to listen first so that we can journey together. This new platform will now be your space for creating new and original content for them. Oh boy. So we have our safe space, and that's not very inspiring. Let's see here. How to manage eventual negative engagement. As you know, in the digital world, many people can make some negative comments on some posts, but as Christians, we have the perfect example, Jesus Christ, of how to treat each other and love one another no matter where they are from. Simply don't panic if you receive some negative comments on your social platform, and take this opportunity to reflect on God, what God wants us to answer. We should always ground our responses in faith. Or you just simply don't have to engage in negative comments, and it's negative. Responding to negativity is draining, so it might not even be worth it. But I think this is negativity towards the Synod. All right, don't rush your response and get another opinion on what you say. Respond to a comment if there is a possibility to continue a dialogue. React directly, make yourself available. Okay. Alright. Toolkit Synod main themes. Let's see here. Companions on the journey, listening. Oh boy. I mean, this is a very beautiful church. I forget which chapel this is. Alright, sharing our responsibility for our common mission. The synodal process calls each member of the people of God to equally participate and take responsibility for the method of listening and dialogue being called for by the Spirit. Why do they refer to the Spirit? Which Spirit? Because I can pretty sure this synod is not inspired by the Holy Spirit. Participation of each member of the faithful is required to further the mission of the church. So what dialogue in the church and society? Okay, the synodal process consists of the invitation and experience of encounter. There's a buzzword for the Vatican II crowd. With the larger community of the people of God, buzzword. Vatican II buzzword. Embracing dialogue, buzzword. With those outside both our faith and cultural community, with those of different faith traditions, and with the entire human family to promote the flourishing of all. How? The call to journey together invites us to enter into relationships of listening and dialogue that engage shared and different realities, experiences of suffering and joy, to promote collaboration and foster the work of the Spirit. If you're outside the church, if you, I don't know if they're presumably in mortal sin. I guess I can't really say that, but how, and they're saying the work of the Spirit. This is a spirit of modernism. This is a spirit that they're trying to foster. Ecumenism. There we go. And I believe, who was it? There were two bishops or two of these high-ranking synodal people that said that we should invite Protestants. What? How is that? That's what they did at the Second Vatican Council, and look what happened. Authority and participation. All right, lots of buzzwords. Let's scroll down. Discerning and deciding. Oh, there's that social justice nun, the bus nun, but she doesn't look like a nun. She just looks like a random person. Okay. Oh wow, look at this. Gretch. Yeah. Here's the fonts you can use, guys. Create your own synodal meme and post it on Twitter. I guess I can do that. I want to do that if I get a chance. Here's the fonts. So tag me in it. Tag John the Son of Thunder, and also tag Parent Ryan. That'll be pretty funny. Parent Ryan will certainly share that. But tag John the Son of Thunder for sure. JTSOT1 on Twitter. And then they have the templates. Oh, look at this. Cardinals that most Catholics have never heard of these cardinals. Now, basically, most of these cardinals, not great. Okay. There's synodal communication. All right. So I think I'm going to stop sharing my screen. All right. How was that? Did you guys enjoy that? Are you going to share this stuff? No, really, though. Go to your... I'm encouraging you. Take a look at your diocesan website. See what they're doing for the synod, because you have to go and say something. You have to. Come on, guys. I'm very negative about this synod, but I'm still going to go to my local parish, and it's close. My local parish it's nearby, and so it's really not that far out of my way, and I can go and see what people are going to say. Now, am I going to get very frustrated? Possibly. I don't know. But I am going to say something, and I haven't 100% decided on my message, but I'm going to talk about the Latin Mass. I may mention that there are two living popes with different perspectives of the Latin Mass and how it has impacted the local community, how people travel to attend the Latin Mass, and how younger families find that the consistency in the theology of the Latin Mass demonstrates, especially to their young children, how the faith should be lived out. Because if we say one thing and then we do another thing, it doesn't make any sense. Like we say women can't be priests, and in the Novus Ordo, it just doesn't seem to make a whole lot of sense because women do everything else. In the Latin Mass, it makes sense, and also the real presence of the Eucharist. The bishops are very concerned. They're doing a Eucharistic revival. Well, what better way to have a Eucharistic revival than to bring back communion rails and communion on the tongue? Wouldn't that, help people understand the real presence of Jesus in the Eucharist? And it would also be a very easy explaining point whenever children are making their first communion. You can say, we receive Jesus on the tongue because it's not normal food. Isn't that very obvious? Wouldn't it make it obvious? What about a communion rail? You know, you kneel down on the communion rail to receive Jesus in the Eucharist. Latin Mass also, whenever the priest elevates the Eucharist, it's silent. He pronounces the words of consecration silently, and that really underscores the importance of real presence in the Eucharist, and also just different actions of the Latin Mass. It's a very big deal, and so I think that bishops of goodwill, if you go to your local synod and you speak at your local synod, I think if you talk about how the Latin Mass highlights Jesus in the real presence of the Eucharist, I think it might open their eyes. It has the potential to do that if your bishop is open to it. Now, if you have a terrible bishop, there are some, then maybe you need to take the fire and brimstone technique. You can talk about how you're praying for a Catholic Pope, and you're praying for Catholic bishops who don't support the LMNOP agenda. You can ask the bishop at point blank if he believes that sodomy is a mortal sin. For some of the bishops, like Wester, McElroy, Supich, Tobin, who else? Stowe. I think that would be a good approach. Now, most of them are probably going to try to shut you out because they're not concerned. They're concerned about dialogue with everyone except Catholics. So it might not be very practical to dialogue with those people. Dialogue might not be very practical to. You might not be able to, is what I'm saying. But you can ask them point blank. If you're bold enough, do it and see if you can video yourself. That'd be great. I'd love to see it. Ask Bishop Stowe, do you believe that sodomy is a mortal sin? And this is what you ask any of these LMNOP, the Catholic left, who are heretics. And this is what you need to do with any of them. And because you can engage with them on Twitter. Sometimes they comment on your posts. And if you ask them that point blank, they'll probably block you. But if you reject a doctrine of the Catholic faith, then you can even say this in your synod speech. Anyone who rejects the doctrines of the Catholic faith is in heresy. They're outside of the church. They're in mortal sin. See what they have to say about that. But you can also take the very, what would you say, very kind or very generous, gracious approach, and just be honest, be nice, and just talk about the Latin Mass and the things you really enjoy about the Latin Mass. So, okay, well, unfortunately, I don't see comments on here. I don't know. Did I not enable comments? I don't know, but I was hoping to have some people comment on this live stream. Unfortunately, I don't see any in the live chat. So I don't know if I enabled it or not. I hope I did. I think I usually do. I have it set up as a default. But let me know your thoughts on the Synod on Synodality. And let me know your thoughts on women's ordination. Is it going to ramp up? Here's the thing. I don't know how we're going to react to this, because if your bishop allows a woman to preach, now, like I said, this isn't necessarily 100% the case. I don't know if the change to canon law enabled this. If your bishop allows a woman to preach a homily, you need to leave. That's heresy. Your bishop supports women deacons, that's heresy. I don't know what you would do. I'm not sure. But we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. All right, everyone. Leave some comments below. Let me know your thoughts on this. Women deacons, Synod on Synodality. Thank you so much for watching. We are the laity, and we will not be silent.